Kevin, how do you sort of see that playing out in APAC? Anna talked about that kind of changes in demand. As you look ahead to sort of medium or longer term, what trends do you think are going to impact your clients?
In the short term, as the ESG landscape evolves, I think it will be important for investors and companies to support a path towards a set of, if you like, international ESG standards. There is today a lack of data standards, in particular in this region when it comes to some of the data coming out of the companies here. It does create a challenge when it comes to trying to compare across the globe because the standards don't exist. And our clients are increasingly telling us about the lack of transparency and governance across many of these data providers. Now, as a proviso, this does not mean we have to have a single arbiter of standards or a single methodology, right? So we're not saying that at all. Rather, it means everyone adhering to a central taxonomy that will allow us to better govern the quality of data. The second point is really talking about transition finance and the role it has in achieving net zero. I think that may be key, or one of the keys going forward. And financial services, of course, will play a key role in the efficient deployment of that capital. However, raising this capital whilst maintaining living standards and enabling growth of impacted developing economies highlights that the theory of simply defunding the high-emitting sectors is counterproductive. There was a report by McKinsey which analyzed how we can achieve the global transition to net zero by 2050. And it showed that the capital spending on physical assets such as energy and agriculture would need a boost of more than, and I ask you to listen here, 3 trillion a year for the next 30 years. I'll let that sink in. 3 trillion a year for the next 30 years. I'll put some perspective around that. That number, 3 trillion, is about the same as the total GDP for all 10 ASEAN nations. It's a substantial investment that is required to get to net zero. So ultimately, the ability from an investment standpoint to maximize returns will drive investment activity.